Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UnWokeable podcast. I'm your host, UnWokeable. We're here today to talk about cowards. We're here today to talk about friendships and the woke mob. Now, I want to be sure that anyone that's watching this, I'm not impugning anybody. I'm making a statement. The reason why I'm doing this podcast or this live stream is because my friend James Lindsay is being mobbed by a crypto woke undercurrent that's rising. I believe it's narrative protection, to be honest, but it's rising on the right, center right, and until today, there has been very little in way of support for him against this ridiculous attack. Okay. And I make this statement not out of just my own observation. I make this statement because I've talked to James. And he's not a weak person. I want to point this out. James isn't a weak person. He's not somebody that sits and cries and whines when being attacked. Okay. But he has been somebody who has stood up for a multitude of people and fought for a multitude of people when they're being attacked by hordes and swarms of nameless, faceless bot accounts or direct attacks from famous people or YouTube famous people. And my point in doing this stream and bringing this to the forefront is that what enables the woke mob or the crypto woke mob or any mob to decimate a movement is not just the person who's being mobbed cowering and bending to it, but the people who abandon that person when it's happening. As someone who has been very much in that kind of situation, and as somebody who, I was raised I'm trailer park trash. All right, man, like that. But if you've read Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance or seen the movie, white trash or trailer park trash or whatever you want to call it, there are a couple of things that come with that kind of culture. All right. And one of those things is loyalty to friends and family against attack, because that kind of culture, that poor environment leads itself to violence. It leads itself to conflict that is not able to be resolved often through words, because honestly, there's a lack of education or just substance abuse or other mitigating factors that come into that kind of situation. And so often you'll get violence, or you'll just get people throwing slurs at each other or attacking each other. Drama, right? But with that kind of culture comes a loyalty to friends and family when that kind of thing happens. And it's my mother and father used to say that blood is thicker than water, right? Meaning that your family or those that you're in the trenches with deserve your support when they're down, when someone is attacking them. Especially if they have done that same thing for you. Especially if you have benefited from the work that they have done. What enables cancel culture, what enables the woke mob to be able to do what it does, or the crypto woke mob, or just any mob, right? What enables that to become pervasive and to take people out of the fight or out of society or out of the conversation is cowards. The cowardness, the cowardly acts, or the cowardly disposition of people who are afraid to jump in and defend the person when they most need to be defended. Now, let me couch this. Let me frame this for you. Nobody is perfect. Cancel culture breeds off of a demand for perfection by those who are imperfect in an effort to take someone who's usually someone who's very effective out of a portion of a conversation or out of the conversation because they're effective. That's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So if you, hey, please like, subscribe, share the channel. Super chats are open if you want to jump in on this conversation. But I think this is a conversation we need to have within our own ranks, within the ranks of people who feel who have been fighting against cancel culture, right? Because if you're looking for perfect warriors, first of all, you're going to lose. If you're looking for people who've never made a mistake, who've never had a picture taken with somebody they didn't realize who it was, or have been on a stage with somebody that you don't like, then if you remove those people and attack them using the same kinds of manipulation that you've been fighting for years from the woke end of the spectrum, you're going to lose. And here's what I'm finding about this. And I have a different take on this than most people you think you'll talk about it. Honestly, and this may be controversial, I believe that there are lots and lots of people in this media area of things, so YouTube, Twitter, all of these kinds of things, who don't speak up, not just out of cowardice, but out of, oh, well, if that voice is diminished, mine could be raised. That's a lot of what I see. And it's in the undercurrent. It's in the, well, if that person actually gets credit for the work they did, then I won't be as important. If that person gets diminished in the viewpoint of people who might follow them for the message I am also trying to carry, then it frees the market, so to speak. It eliminates competition. And I'll tell you this, there was a whole host of people that when James Lindsay got banned from Twitter, you saw their stock rise. And what do I mean by stock? You saw their followership count rise. You saw their opportunities increase. You could see it. When James Lindsay was taken off Twitter, it created a giant vacuum for people. And people started scrambling. And I'll tell you this. There were a whole host of people that were banned from Twitter at different points. But there were several accounts who I like, several people who I like, right? That were banned, but came back 3 days later. 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 times. And many of these accounts have the exact word in the account name that James Lindsay got banned for using. Now, I'm not saying this is a giant conspiracy. Okay, what I'm saying is that, and then you would have these accounts that kept coming back, advocating for each other when the other one would get banned. Right? Okay, great. I did too. When Libs of TikTok got banned or suspended, I was out there. Right? When Gays Against Groomers got suspended, I was out there saying, bring them back. When Colin Wright got suspended, I was out there saying, bring him back. Right? But all of these groups of people, all of these accounts were advocating for the other, but all of them forgot about James Lindsay, and it hadn't been that long. Right? And all of their stocks rose. And again, I'm not calling any of these people out. I'm observing something that I see on Twitter that nobody talks about. And whether you like it or not, Twitter is the lifeblood of the narrative. It's a lifeblood of the message. It sets the tone for news. People who are in these circles, of which I've been a part, right? People who are in these circles know that your stock increases when your follower count increases. And here's the other part about it. Just like James Lindsay was an example of just recently, when he got put back on Twitter, he went from 300,000 followers to 350,000 followers, basically, instantly. I mean, 2 or 3 days, right? And that's great. But I saw the same thing happen to all of these other accounts over and over again. They would get banned or suspended, and then they come back a day or two later, giant jump in followers. Banned or suspended, giant jump in followers. But all of that is to point out my point. All that is to get to my point, which is I believe that there are often people, and not every person, who will not stand up for someone like James, who was taking a large portion of that market. His weight and intellect and work on these subjects, whether you're talking about the queer theory end of things, whether you're talking about the critical race theory, DEI, all of these things, critical theory in general, was outsized. He had 200,000 followers when Chris Rufo had 20,000, right? Now that's since changed. But he has been in the conversation for so long since the grievance studies affair and been dominant in the conversation for so long that he garnered a certain part of the market, guys. And what I saw, what I witnessed, my observation, not concrete evidence, but when he was taken down, there was a giant push to say free James Lindsay, right? And then a day or 2 weeks later, all done. People stopped talking about it, but then other people started getting banned. But then they would come back and then banned. And then they would come back. And with each time, it would just, raise the follower count. And then you would start to see their interviews increase. They would be on Tucker Carlson. They would be on, whatever news story. You can literally see these things happening. And then when I mentioned that this was happening, I got gaslit. When I mentioned, hey, Colin Wright, brother, person I respect, person who does great work, you're advocating for Libs of TikTok because they just got banned for the 4th time. But there's still somebody out there who was banned that hadn't come back 4 times. Hey, man, say something about it. Do you know how I got lambasted? I got taken to the woodshed by people in DMs who accused me of attacking Colin Wright or attacking Gays Against Groomers or attacking libs of TikTok, which I wasn't. I was pointing out something. These few groups of people were seeing market benefit in terms of followers and spread of their name and their notoriety because James Lindsay was off the scene and because they would advocate for each other when the other one would get banned. Right? And as somebody who was literally posting, okay, this is day number, whatever, James Lindsay's not here, I messaged Chris Rufo, who I've been corresponding with for years now. All of these people I follow, and they follow me, by the way. And I like them. I'm not beating up on them. I'm talking about a sense of what I can see as a bit of opportunistic, I'm not going to help this person, or a mix of cowardice at points. And I'm not talking about these people specifically, the people I've named. There's a lot, okay? I'm just talking about an overall problem using examples that I've seen. I love Colin Wright. I think his work is amazing. I love what Gays Against Groomers is doing. Their work is amazing. I love libs of TikTok and the lights that they've shine on things, okay? I like these groups, but their stock prices rose with James Lindsay off the scene. And their advocacy for him did not pick up again until I started calling them out for it. And then you'd see here or there, hey, bring back James Lindsay, da, da, da. And then right as Elon Musk was about to do it, you saw it coming out. It was great. But man, when libs of TikTok got banned for the 18th time, when Colin Wright got banned for the second time, when Gays Against Groomers got banned for the 8th time, every single time they got banned, there was a giant wave of people that would advocate for them until they came back. So in that context, and again, I got taken to the woodshed by, I believe, handlers, or just people who are also trying to get their little piece of the pie. Okay? For advocating not for myself, not for my own follower count, not for my own work, but for my friend James Lindsay. And I saw what happened when he got banned, and everybody splintered, and everybody you saw this giant influx of Twitter Spaces, and Twitter Spaces, everybody knows, jumping on a Twitter Space is a way to attract people to follow you. And there was a vacuum, and people were like, well, I'm going to suck up my portion of the vacuum. And all I was trying to do was say, hey, I'd just rather have James Lindsay back because you're not him. I'm not him. Instead of trying to like feed off his carcass. Well, now he's back. And almost as soon as he got back, I mean, he's only been back a week or two, there's a concerted effort being lodged at him, a concerted attack being lodged at him about him having had a picture with a former victim, by the way, of the cult Nexium, Nikki Klein. Some months back, before James was banned from Twitter, he went to a free speech conference. Right? And at that conference, there were people speaking. James, Nikki Klein, Carrie Smith, Mike Harlow, others. At this, they were in an obvious green room or something. They were all hanging out and they took pictures. Nikki Klein and James Lindsay took a picture together of them both man-spreading. Nikki Klein, Carrie Smith, Mike Harlow, James Lindsay all took pictures of the Breakfast Club. Like there was a picture of the Breakfast Club and they were all and since then, because James took these pictures and hasn't properly denounced Nikki Klein, I guess there are accounts and YouTubers out there, big name people, lots of followers, lots of subs out there saying that James supports groomers because he took a picture with Nikki Klein. They then begin conflating Nikki Klein with Keith Raniere, who was the leader of the cult. But I find it really, really funny. I find it really interesting that the other people and Carrie Smith, and I like Carrie Smith. I think she's one of the sweetest people. I'm not. She's dealing with some stuff right now, and she wasn't on Twitter. I understand all that, okay? And I'm not beating her up, but nobody was attacking Carrie Smith for this. She was in the pictures too. Nobody was attacking Mike Harlow. He was in the pictures too. But there was this concerted effort at James, and nobody was really standing up for him. So yesterday, this is what I did. There's an account that I'm not going to give the time of day on this channel. Not that there's going to be tons of people watching it, but that is followed by a lot of the big name accounts, Gays Against Groomers, Lives a TikTok, who all follow me, by the way. Okay, so we all in the same. That is attacking James for supporting groomers, right? And a lot of these accounts have benefited from James being off the platform. And James comes back on the platform, and this one giant big account starts lobbying these complete conflated arguments, conflating Nikki Klein with Keith Raniere, and because James took pictures with them or spoke at the same conference, that he's a groomer. So this is coming from the right, by the way. This is coming from the UnWoke portion of things. And so this is why I'm going to make the case about something here. I think that there's a portion of this that's about market control. There's a portion of the silence that's about market control, because James Lindsay made the term G word a thing. And immediately you saw Gays Against Groomers pop up. June 2022. Didn't exist before then. James was saying the G word going back months. October 2021. And that's something I brought up, and they did not like that. I got taken to the woodshed. DMs just, I'm not going to follow you anymore. You're attacking Colin Wright. I wasn't attacking Colin Wright. I respect Colin Wright. I wasn't attacking Gays Against Groomers. I was pointing out something you didn't like, which is that this G word issue, which James brought to the forefront, he made it a thing. You may have talked about it before. It's like there are some things that I've shared with James about diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? There are some things that I've shared with him about the things that I've worked on. I brought him here to Oklahoma to talk to about it. He did a podcast on it and it gets tons of views. He brought it to the forefront. I didn't have the audience, right? So, and I got to stop saying right all the time. I listened to the thing I did the other day and it's real freaking annoying. So please like smack me or something if you hear me do that. I don't know. I just started doing that. So I'm going to try to stop doing that. But my point is this, moving on to what I was saying, is that there's a market control here. They want, there are people, not everyone. I'm not saying Carrie Smith or Mike Harlow or any of those people. Okay. I'm not talking, but there is an element that want James Lindsay out of that part of the conversation. Hey, James, go back to critical race theory. We need you to, go talk about SEL. Leave this part of the message that garnered us all of our following to us. We'll take care of it. And I believe that's what this account is doing. They're trying to shame James out of the conversation. And I think James senses that. I don't know if he has the same, he's connecting the same dots I am, and he may think I'm nuts. I didn't tell him my hypothesis. Okay. I'm telling you what I think, but I can read what James, this is something that James brought out here yesterday. He's talking about Maoism being demonic. And he's referring to this situation. He's referring to this issue. He says, notice what the demand is. Maoism is demonic. And he's quoting a tweet and he says, think of it this way. If you found your child trafficking sex cult in your social circle, and this is another tweet from he's quoting, I'm sure you as a decent person would immediately distance yourself from them as firmly and publicly as possible. James, however, refuses to speak against his P-word friend. So he's quoting that tweet and he says, notice what the demand is. Maoism is demonic. If they make you denounce your friends and family, or your family, or even an innocent passerby you barely know, they break a piece of your soul. The part of that honors people, the part that honors people and can be loyal and trustworthy. Okay? And then he moves on. He says, just denounce your friends. Just give up a little of your soul. I'm just going to retweet this because I didn't. I don't know why. Just denounce your friends. Just give up a little bit of your soul. We'll make the abuse stop. Just denounce your friends. Just betray us. Just betray them for us. And then he brings up, learn to recognize it. The study of brainwashing in China. And he gives examples because James always backs up his freaking work because he's read more of anything than you and I probably have combined. But it's talking about thought reform. We're seeing this come from the right now. We're seeing this come from the UnWoke movement. And there is a portion of them, sorry to say, whether you like it or not, who don't want James Lindsay in the conversation. In my own situations, I have found where Republicans who are supposedly unwoke, anti-CRT, whatever, have worked with leftist journalists behind the scenes. They didn't think I could track them and find the line connecting them, but I did because they're not that smart. Most of them, in my case, were boomers. Who would feed information, incorrect, out of context information to leftist journalists or leftist talking heads to do their dirty work for them. And they would do it through intermediaries, through people that, well, I'm not a Republican, or people who decided to just become a journalist to write four Substack articles, or, and then they claim not to be, so they can give themselves and insulate themselves from plausible deniability of well, I'm not attacking James. I'm just not out there defending him because I'm not sure of the situation and blah, 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 blah. Or I'm not attacking UnWokeable. No, it's that person who's doing it, but I'm not going to go defend him because that'll be bad for the movement. It's market capture. It's legitimate market capture. And they go after people like James or even myself because, and I'm not equating myself to the level of James Lindsay on these things, but I am really good at finding the underlying current and connecting dots through evidence of people's modes of action for what motivates them to do things. Who benefits from James Lindsay being out of the conversation? It's not just the woke left. No. There's a whole industry now, ladies and gentlemen. There's a whole industry now that benefits and makes money coming from the right for advocating for things. This is what makes me nervous, is that much of what we're seeing from the LGBTQIA plus 4812 question mark, okay, groups, that was started with the gay rights movement. And when gay marriage was passed or became the law of the land, those advocacy organizations lost their reason to exist. And so they took the L, the G, and the B, right? They took the L, the G, and the B, and they added the T, the Q, the I, the A, so they don't ever run out of a reason to exist again as organizations. And now we see center-left groups popping up, making money off of this finite market. And they will benefit from someone, from someone like James Lindsay, who does it better than they do, who's smarter than they are. They will benefit from him being out of the conversation when it comes to this portion of the pie. You can't have the G word thing, James. No. We're going to move you out of that. How are we going to move you out of that? We're going to socially nudge you out of it by putting you through a struggle session by somebody on our team. And then when they do that, we're going to be silent. So I messaged about, 20 or 30 people, high profile people for whom follow me, that I've communicated with yesterday. Because James wrote this, and this hit me right in my heart. And we were talking, him and I. He said, by the way, learn it for yourself. Almost none of your friends will be there for you when it comes to you. You will beat or get broken by your struggle session, mostly alone. And as somebody who has experienced that myself, I wasn't going to stand for it. I'm not. Come and get me. Get mad at me. Unfollow me. Do your little whisper campaigns, which started after I called out Colin Wright. They doth protest too much. Stand up for your friends, or don't complain, or don't pretend to be one. Don't interact with James Lindsay and grift off of James Lindsay and his follower count, and then pick his bones when he gets banned, and not advocate for him when people go after him for a specious, incorrect, woke style argument trying to conflate Nikki Klein with Keith Raniere with James Lindsay. Guilt by association. And all of this unwoke apparatus. And it's amazing. The people that followed me, followed James. I do things like this. I notice the groupings of things. Would many of these people, when Gays Against Groomers was banned, or was being attacked, or Libs of TikTok was being banned, or was attacked, or for serious things and unserious things, would just come out of the woodworks, man. Defend, defend, defend. But James gets attacked on this issue. They didn't include Mike Harlow and Kerry Smith in the attack, who went silent for various reasons. Okay, I'm going to be accused of beating up on Kerry Smith, whom I really like Kerry Smith. I'm not, or Mike Harlow, or I'm not. I'm pointing out what actually happened. Now today, so I wrote a giant message that said basically, hey guys, there's this account that's doing it. You all follow them. And I pointed out the wokeness of their arguments, the manipulation in their argument, in their attack on James. And I said, stand up for your friend. I said, unfollow this account, not in perpetuity, but maybe just as a small message to let them know that you aren't going to accept woke style manipulation from the right or the left. And these are people I get along with. They're people that follow me. I follow them. That's why I can DM them. And I put it all in one group. And I said, you know, and I equated it to my situation. I said, look, I had some people who I was messaging come after me for bringing up what happened with Colin Wright, or bringing up Colin not advocating for James at one point, and Gays Against Groomers for not advocating for James at one point. And I mean, I was attacked, right? I defended Kerry against a lot of the attacks that happened with her situation with Carlin. And others who've been attacked or mobbed or used manipulation to have them mobbed. Manipulation of the truth. Okay? And so, and I wrote them all and I said, if you're going to call it out on the left, do it on the right as well. If we allow our friends to begin using the same kind of manipulation as those who we garnered our audience by disputing, if we do that, why are we here? Are we here just to gain clicks, followers, YouTube dollars? Or are we here to actually end the manipulation? Because I don't accept it from the right or the left. I don't accept it from the woke or the unwoke. I swear upon the altar of God, eternal hostility towards every form of tyranny over the mind of man. That's my motto. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I don't care if you're woke or unwoke. If you start using what I garner as a woke manipulation, a woke style manipulation, I'm going to call that out. I'm going to engage you in the conversation. If you then bend to the mob started by somebody on the unwoke side of things, the mob that was created using a woke style manipulation of the facts and conflating, and these are intellectuals, these are very smart people, these are journalists. If you don't call it out then, like you did Ibram Kendi, like you did Kimberly Crenshaw, like you did Ta-Nehisi Coates, like you did Joy Reid, if you allow that same kind of manipulation to persist on your side and don't do the same thing you did intellectually on Twitter, what are you doing? And then let's just get to the brass tacks of it. Let's just get to the visceral of it. If you call this man your friend, if you call James Lindsay your friend, if you've worked with him, if you've benefited from his work, if you've seen over and over again his track record in giving you tools and others tools and traveling around the country and going to groups that none of the people would dare step in. It's not I'm not going to go on the Unwokable podcast because they're shadow banned now on YouTube and don't get the interactions that they used to get that match their following, because everything I do is, I'm not going to go visit the small meeting in rural Oklahoma. Nah, it's not worth the buck, guys. That lowers my stature, guys. I'd rather pontificate on Twitter, steal, things from lower accounts and garner my own piece of the pie, right? And James reaches out to everybody. He's talked to everyone. And I say all of that to say that he's earned the support of the people he's helped. Don't be a coward when your friends are being attacked by the mob. Don't jump on the mob's side by doing what James described here. Just denounce your friends. Just give up a little of your soul. We'll make the abuse stop. Just denounce your friends. Just betray them for us. That's how Maoists work. If they make you denounce your friends or your family, or even an innocent passerby you barely know, they break a piece of your soul, the part that honors people and that can be loyal and trustworthy. And people have accused me, oh, you're a James Lindsay sycophant. He's my friend. But not just my friend. I respect and am loyal to people who have put their asses on the line, their livelihoods, their reputations, their families, to do work that will always most assuredly get you attacked. I respect people and am loyal to people who've proven to be about the message as opposed to lining their pocketbook. If James Lindsay had taken the 2 years before, the 4 years, the 6 years before Gays Against Groomers ever existed, before Libs of TikTok existed, and monetized everything that he does, if James Lindsay would have taken the message that Chris Rufo took from him and used his considerable efforts not in marketing instead of actually fixing the problem, you wouldn't know who Chris Rufo was. You wouldn't know who he was. But James was more concerned in actually fixing the problem. He's put his pocketbook on the line. He's put his peace on the line. He's put his sanity on the line. He's put his time. We're all collections of minutes and seconds, people. The most important commodity we have is time. And he has spent, the first time I spoke to him, he spent 2.5 hours on the phone with me and had never spoken to me before. Just in the middle of the day. I DM'd and say, hey, can I call you? Sends me his phone number. Boom. I'm on the phone with him for 2.5 hours. I wasn't selling him anything. He wasn't selling me anything. He was just teaching me. That's all. So when somebody is being attacked like that, when somebody gives up their time, their money, their effort, their livelihood, when they put on the line their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor, you garner my loyalty. You get my loyalty as a friend. And those who claim to be your friend when things are good and are nowhere to be found when things are not, I don't want anything to do with you. Because how can I count on, and I'll tell you, a giant portion of people have done that to me, have done that to James, have done that to other people. And it enables the cancel culture you claim to be fighting to exist. It is actually the catalyst to exist. What James is describing here, using a study of brainwashing in China, is the weaponization of not the loud mob, but the weaponization of your friends by their fear. And I wrote about this. If you're expecting perfect warriors in the face of a culture war, because the left and now the Hegelian right, which I'm starting to see, the crypto woke right, the Hegelian right, they don't really have values. They don't have stone cold, nope. Because Hegelianism and this, the only truth is power. So they're more than willing to shift their standards of what they see as an intellectual argument or a valid intellectual argument all the way to their just very values as to what is right and wrong. And you see this most on the left, but it's starting to creep in on the right. They'll shift that if they can benefit from it. And if they see that you're not following the narrative line, they will nudge you. James is being, not nudged, James is being shoved. Get out of the groomer conversation. Go talk about SEL. They're connected. It's the same thing. But they don't want him using those words. Those words belong to other people. Now, let them take care of that. So I'm not gonna. Oh, to get back to my story, sorry. I wrote these people and I said, guys, at least unfollow the account. Not even forever. Just send them a DM and say, this doesn't make sense. The argument is specious. It's not rooted in sound logic. And you're using it to overblow and lead an attack on somebody who's done a lot to stop the thing you claim to be against. And I wrote these very well followed, highly followed people that follow me. And I said, stand up for your friend. My opinion. I didn't garner anybody else to do it. I said, this is what I think. I stood up for my friend because the last time I tried to do that in public, and I did it through a DM. Here's the other part about it. I did it privately. And I still got the same critique. Don't try to pressure me to do things. See, before it was, oh, just talk about it in a DM. Don't tweet about it out. Don't be so passionate against your friends. Be passionate against your enemies. Okay, so I did it in a DM and I still get the same critique from people who I know for a fact, because I've been a part of it, have garnered protection for themselves against mobs and manipulators in the exact same way I was doing. Don't hit me with the damn hypocrisy. So I wrote these people and I still get, well, maybe we should do this or maybe we should do. No, just stand up for your friend. If it's wrong, say it's wrong. Hem and haw your way out of it. Grow a pair of balls. Get some intestinal fortitude and stand up for your friend. Stand up for the actual correct part of the situation. Stand up for the person who's being manipulated and manipulating. Stand up and speak against the accounts and the person on your side that you follow that you say does good work. If they're manipulating people, if they're using a manipulated argument to attack somebody, but claim to be against the issue that James is bringing to the forefront, this person is trying to garner their part of the market. That's what they're doing. They are trying to garner James's portion of the market and get him out of it. Why do I come to that conclusion? Because the argument they're using against him is fallacious. It does not track. You cannot conflate Nikki Klein with Keith Raniere and say, well, because James took a picture, he must support P words, right? He must be one, actually, is the argument that's coming up. So that's the giant leap in logic. And all of these high-profile accounts that I messaged all at one time, a few of the lower people I included have unfollowed this account, but all the rest of them, no. And they just happen to be the same group of freaking people that just their star rose when James got off of Twitter, when he got banned, and then came after me for trying to defend him and trying to get him back. Boy, but right when Elon, was saying, it was amazing to me. It's like, I spent all this time and I got told, oh, you quit being a James sycophant. You look pathetic. You look by people who and whatever, for standing up for my friend publicly. And then, when Elon starts to come back, you start saying, oh, free James Lindsay. Great, good. Yeah. Where were you? The 96 days before that or something, right? And this isn't about hero worship. I've had disagreements with James. We've argued about things. But I've also had disagreements with my brothers and my sister. But I love them. I'm not going to stop talking to them. And I'll tell you, no matter how mad I got at them, if they were being attacked, I would be the first person. And I see James as a brother. And he deserves better of his friends. those with more than 20,000 Twitter followers. That one word from an account like Libs of TikTok or even Gays Against Groomers, pointing out the speciousness of the argument being used to attack him, and it would stop. Because this isn't coming from the woke left. This is coming from an amalgamation of the center left and right. I've already tracked it. And this account that's garnering it is the linchpin. And those who are trying to grab a portion of the pie, so to speak, and just want to grift, just get out of the way. I mean, I don't have any use for people like that anymore. Yes, Carolyn. It's a good word. I'm no one on Twitter really either. Okay. I mean, I have a lot of people that follow me because I've done a lot of work for a long time. But I have a lot of important people that follow me. And the list of people that I sent this message to is well known. And there's a few in that list that if they would just, one word, if Chris Rufo would just, one word, and it would whoop, it'd be done. But yeah, James Lindsay is a godsend. He's been, if he is, what I say to him all the time is, brother, when he, sometimes he messages me when he gets down and it, or he feels, everybody does, right? And I just always remind him, man, we can't lose you. We would be in the tall grass without you. You're right, Carolyn. We would be in the tall grass without you. And that's why I did the stream about him being knocked off. That's why I did a stream when celebrated him coming back on Twitter. Because his voice is important. And there are concerted efforts of people coming from the right spectrum now. From the right, not from the left. From the left too. But they're connected over the top, right? It's like right and left. It's not even useful anymore. But there's a group of people, Hegelian thinkers, that are attacking James and don't want him here, and they are connected to a few Republican policies that James has spoken out against. Make no mistake, they wanted James Lindsay off of Twitter before the election. And they got that. 106 days before the election, during the entire election season, they wanted him off. Why? Because he can't be controlled. And he might retweet someone like me. Ooh. And we wouldn't want any outsized attention on the dark corner of, red state Oklahoma that we're building our apparatus to see for this actually to take over. Because I'm going to tell you again, like I've said over and over again, guys, the blue states are gone. The red states are where the battle is, but everybody's focusing on the blue states. Focusing on the books in the blue states, so focusing on the surgeries in the blue. It's all happening in the red states too. And when I bring it up, you get this giant apparatus that seeks to protect the people who are allowing it to happen. From the right. From the new conservative media. Out of either ignorance, these aren't dumb people. When I sit and text with reporters from the Daily Wire that are supposed to run stories that never materialize, I'm not a nobody, guys. I talk to people. And that's why they've come after me hard. The right, the establishment, right. Using the left as puppets, feeding them information. I've literally got it dead to rights on a chart with receipts connecting these dots. And I swear to everything that's holy, if this doesn't stop, well, if anything were to happen to me, I am not suicidal, by the way. Not gonna harm. I'm not gonna Clinton anybody or myself. Okay, it's in the right hands, and boom. So these kinds of attacks have to stop. These kinds of attacks have to stop. Hegemony, I don't want to go through all of it again. You can go and if you're on Twitter, it's basically a specious attack saying that because James took a picture with somebody that he's a groomer. So but it's only at him and not any of the other people in the pictures. Interesting. That's where I'm at, guys. That's what I had to say about it. Stop being cowards. When your friends' backs are to the wall, when they've earned your trust and support, stop being cowards. Stop being opportunistic cowards. Where you think that, well, hey, if he's out, I get more me. Because if there's less James, there's more me. Don't pretend to be a moralistic leader. Don't pretend to be somebody who's fighting for the right and then abandon the right when it can line your own pockets. That is the utmost. I don't even have a good word for it. It's just like you trifling. You're just trifling. Like I don't know. And we need to be better about understanding the flaws of people, not holding their pasts against them. I'm not talking about James here. I'm just saying because the right has a huge problem. They let the left use their standards against them. Because the left doesn't hold the standards, but they know the right does. So they do what James Lindsay's describing here in this tweet. If they can make you denounce your friends or your family, or even an innocent passerby you barely know, they break a piece of your soul, meaning that part that honors people and that can be loyal and trustworthy. And part of being loyal and trustworthy is standing up for people when they're being unfairly attacked. So I got some stuff coming out soon. I'm probably going to be on. I'm setting up a more doing some house cleaning now, but I do have something big coming up. Got a story, but like, subscribe, share the channel. I'm going to be on later this afternoon, 4 or 5, and no, the story's not coming out today, but we'll see who pays attention. we'll see how hard I get before that because I just telegraphed my punch. But we'll be on around 4 or 5 today. Going to get into a more schedule, a more normal schedule, 2 to 3 times a day. So if you're interested, please like, subscribe, share the channel. I'm going to be a little more put together. Got some cool things coming. And we've got, my last word on everything is just we've got to support the people that deserve to be supported when they're down. If they got their back to the wall, help them get out of the corner. That's where it is. That's all I got. Thanks.